I'm sure you haven't forgotten, but let me remind you one more time. I love anything pickled. So today I'm gonna have to, of course, pickle something that is just plentiful in my garden during the spring, and it is asparagus. Don't worry, if you don't grow your own, a local farmer's market is gonna have an amazing bounty, I'm sure. It is such a different take on anything pickled, and it's so fun to add to a relish tray or just have out at your next gathering. To start, you just wanna put your brine together. Take a 3-quart heavy bottom saucepan and pour in some vinegar and some water. Next come the spices and flavorings, and what I love about anything pickled is you can kind of tailor this to whatever you like. So if one of these is something that you don't really like, just take it out and you don't have to use it. That's the wonderful thing about canning and pickling. You can make it whatever you want. I'm putting in some canning salt. It's just a little bit more fine and stronger than regular salt, so if you use regular, you just may need to use a little bit more. Some sugar, some whole peppercorns, some whole mustard seeds, some bay leaves, some dill seed, and a little bit of celery seed. I know that sounds like a lot, but all these flavors together really just add something extra special. And yes, you could use just pickling spice, but some of the spices in there I don't really like, so I kind of like to put my own together. Just place this on the stove and let it come to a boil. You just want to make sure all the sugar and salt dissolves and that the flavors really start coming out of all those spices. Once it comes to a boil, you can just turn it to a simmer and get your jars and asparagus ready. I'm using these oversized, tall jam jars, they're called. I think they are so beautiful for asparagus because they're really tall, so you can kind of use a lot of the stalk and get the beautiful top end of the asparagus, and they really look just as pretty once they're canned. I know it doesn't really matter what they look like, but I love how beautiful they are. So if you give them as a gift, it's just a bonus. To start, just make sure to wash your asparagus. This is why I love to use organic asparagus if you can. That way you know that pesticides and all those gross things have not been used on the asparagus, and it feels a lot better to use it in your canned good. Just rinse it off and wash any dirt that there might be away. Next, you just want to start fitting them in your jars. Really, there's no exact science to this. I just hold up a piece of asparagus and see how tall I need it to be. You want to make sure that you're going to be able to have a 1/4 inch of head space, which is the amount of space from the top rim of the jar down to where your brine will be and the top of the asparagus will be. Once you have that done, just cut a piece and check it, and then use that piece as your guide to cut all the other pieces. When you start having quite a few, just start stuffing them into the jars. Once again, there is no right or wrong way to do this. You just want to make sure that you can pack them fairly tightly, but not so tight that you have to stuff them in. If you want to fill up a jar and it just seems like you can't quite, you can use some of the extra ends that you're cutting off and just kind of place them in the middle. That way you don't see them on the edge once it's done. I, of course, like spice, so to finish these off, I add some crushed red pepper flakes to each jar. This is completely optional. If you don't like spice, leave it out, or if you love spice like me, you'll probably want to add a little bit extra. I know I always do. If you've watched my Canning 101 video, you know by now that you should have your lids ready to go, your rings ready to go, and your water bath waiting ready to go also. It is so important to have everything ready before you start. And if you haven't watched my Canning 101 video, make sure to click over here on the annotation or down below in the link and watch it. It is really just like quick, simple steps that will get you started and make you feel so comfortable with canning. Watch it. It's good, I promise. And it's quick. Make sure your brine is at a boil, and then using a funnel, just because it's best to keep things as clean as we can, use a ladle and ladle your brine into your jars. Now, I like to make sure I get some of the mustard seeds and some of the peppercorns in each jar. You don't have to use them all up and make sure they all get distributed, but just some of them because they keep flavoring it once they're in there. Once you have your brine distributed between your jars, you will probably have a little bit left, and that's okay. It's better than not having enough, because then what would you do? You can just set it aside. I use it, I just put it in the fridge and I just throw some vegetables in it and use it for a quick pickle in the fridge with whatever vegetable you have left. Or I love just to put all the extra ends from this asparagus that I just used in it and put that in the fridge, and in a few days you can just eat those. You can then wipe off each rim. If you're like me, a few drips always get on, so just make sure to wipe it off with hot sterilized water. Place your lids and rings on and then just tighten them just enough. You don't want to go so tight or as tight as you can, but just until it feels tight. I know it sounds hard, but once you do it a couple times, it is going to be like nothing and you will understand completely what I mean, I promise. If you go too tight, the lid can buckle, so that's why you just don't want to go quite as tight as you think you can. Once you have the lids and rings on, you can just place these into your ready-to-go boiling water bath. The water should just come over the top of the lids. Set the timer for 10 minutes, then take them out and let them sit. And soon you are gonna hear that singing to a canner's ear, those little pops of the lids popping and sealing, and it is just the best thing ever. I know it sounds odd, but after you go to this work, you want it to seal, and it is such a good sound. As you can see, these really are just gorgeous to look at, but they're even better to eat. It's really best to let them sit for at least 3 weeks, but they will keep for up to a year in a cool, dry, and dark environment. I love to pull these out as gifts or put them on a fabulous relish tray and just really excite and entice guests that I have with something unique. I love to can, and so this summer you are gonna have to stick around for all new canning videos I am so excited to make for you. Make sure to leave a comment, and if you have something you wanna know how to can or you wanna see something being canned, make sure to tell me. I love to know what people want to see and what you're excited to see. So if there's something out there, make sure to tell me and I can hopefully make it happen for you. And if you want to see more great videos by The Gray Boxwood, click subscribe and become part of the family. Thanks for watching.